Okay, that's our little connection with that will tie the right. Okay. Couldn't help but thought that was appropriate. Okay, learning sponsors, A Year of Learning by Suwanarni Garlic in memory of Malka Proman and Philip Mann, and Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch and Beryl ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch. Yosef Meir ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Henya Rivka Pro Rosna bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, in memory of family murdered in the Holocaust, Harav Tzvi Hirsch ben Shlomo Yaakov, Sarah bat Ephraim, Yisrael David ben Arav Tzvi Hirsch, Ephraim ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Adia bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Miriam bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Pesel bat Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shalom ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shlomo Yaakov ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch, Shmuel ben Harav Tzvi Hirsch. Leslie and Gail Kaplan, in memory of their parents, Harry and Marjorie Siddell, Irving and Pearl Kaplan. Children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of Toby Paris, Saratova bat Yisrael Dov in her memory. Charlie Gelfenstein and Sam Levine in memory of Ramona Levine, Rachel Mata bat Asher. Friends of Nina Monester, Nechama Azna bat Yitzchak Aharon. Many friends of Stephen Vigdor, Zecher Nishmat Simcha Melech ben Meir Leib Halevi. Friends of Marcy Kurtz in memory of her great niece, Leah Bracha. A month of learning by Lydia and Abe Krause's many friends in honor of their 50th anniversary. Josh and Carol Sanborn in memory of his parents, Chiena bar Aryeh Leib, Shmuel Aryeh ben Baruch. Jill and Perry Meltzer in memory of her father, Yaakov ben Yosef. A week of learning by Leonie Meiselman in memory of her husband, Nissen Yitzchak ben Shlomo Zalman. Family of Esther Shepatovsky in her memory, Esther Riva bat Betzalel. Sid Peres in memory of his father, Chaim ben Aharon Cohen. Then we have a day of learning by Rabbi Dr. Moshe Kranzler in memory of his wife, Esther Riva bat Betzalel, by Sarah and Jesse Copy Marilis, wishing all our friends a Chag Purim Sameach, by Carol and Paul Schwartz, a happy Purim to all HaTorah or friends. Shamas Heaven Aliyah, Krank Rafia, Velti Rashir, Sham Natzliah, and the Chol B'nai Yisrael, a good Kaben Shtiah. All right. All right. We'll go with what we can. We are on Yud Amud Aleph, right? Okay. And we did the top line right there. All right. Bob, I feel like I should stand up and salute you. All right? Okay. Okay. V'simanech, it says in the Gemara, mate nolad v'yabem. Okay. Mate nolad v'yabem. Okay. So in other words, that reminder tells us what was the order with the brothers. We saw with the 6 brothers. Okay. That was the question, that one died, another one was born, and then that one, then one of the other brothers did Yibum, another second brother died, another one was born, okay, and then another Yibum, okay? So those were all the views of Rabbi Chia, we said. However, Elul Rebbe, as we continue now on Yud Amud Aleph, the second line, okay. Right. What happened? It says, but rather regarding Rebbe, Hani Klale Litle, that Rebbe did not hold by the same principles or the same progression that Rebbe Chia did. Okay. So what happens? Gemara tells us, Rav Ada Karchina, Kame de Rav Kahana. Rav Ada Karchina was sitting before Rav Kahana, Amar Mishmei de Rabba, and he said in the name of Rabba the following: Le'olam idle le Rebbe Hani Klali. He claims no, that Rebbe did hold by these. I don't know how hot the water is, okay? By these principles. Vahachi ka'amarle, and this is what he means to tell us. Imo anusat aviv, in a situation where the man's mother was in non-marital relations with his father. Bechada mishkachadla. In one kind of case, we can find it. Betarte lo mishkachadla. But in two examples, two cases, we don't find it. Now the Gemara is going to give us the whole scenario. If you're using Art Scroll on 10A1, notes number 7, 8, and 9, okay, is what you want to take a look at, okay? And I will tell you that I use both Koren and Art Scroll. As good as Art Scroll's diagram is there, Koren's was still better, okay? So we have 2 volumes of Koren in the Geller library, if you ever want to take a look at it on this particular picture, all right? It's a little better, right? I didn't set up the board today, okay? But you have a situation, what we're going to see, where Mr. X was married to, okay, Shimon was married to 2 women, okay, Leah and Penina, okay? That's how we start off, okay? Right?
You're explaining this diagram?
Well, there were 2 women involved.
Right.
Okay?
They were 2 sisters.
They were 2 sisters, and he raped both of them. That's what we're going to get into. Okay? And then the question is, there was progeny from one of the raped sisters. Okay? That's where we're going to start headed, right? And so he wants to give this possibility, this example, to show, okay, that maybe Rebbe did hold by the principles of Rebbe Chia. Okay, so here it is. Yaakov, if Yaakov, so Yaakov is our bad guy. He's the one who was the raper, right? What did he do? Shnei achayot anas. He raped 2 women. Okay, so think of Yaakov in the middle and the 2 women diagram either side with our dotted line that shows it was rape instead of a straight line that it was married. Everybody with me so far? Okay, what happens? Achauta shehi yibamta, says the Gemara. Her sister is her sister-in-law in this case, right? If they're sisters, each sister is the sister-in-law also to the other, right?
So there's no marriage because these two women got married to Yaakov's 2 other brothers.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Not brother, his.
Doesn't Bia count as getting married?
We said yesterday, you're right. The Oraita, it does. The Rabbanan, it doesn't. Okay? So we keep that always in the back of our minds in these situations, right? But what happened in this case? So in this case, each sister is is the sister-in-law also, mishkachat la, and we find here in this situation what? Ha'asura lazeh muteret lazeh. Okay, one who is forbidden to this one is permitted to this one. Lo mishkachat la, right? We don't find. Okay, v'i shtei nachriot anas, and had he raped 2 women that were not sisters, right? Ha'asura lazeh muteret lazeh mishkachat la, we would find the situation that one that is forbidden to this progeny, let's say for Yibum, the other one is forbidden, the other is permitted, mishkachat la, achota shehi yivamta, but where her sister is also the one for whom it's intended to be the Yabama, all right, the widow who is intended for Yibum, lo mishkachat la, we don't find it in this situation. Now, what happens? Rav Ashi Amar, he says as follows, Leolam lidle the Rebbe Hani Klali. He disagrees. And he says, no, Rebbe did not have at all these same principles, rules as Rabbi Chia, right? Ubeplugta kamaire. And we're dealing here with a machloket. Now remember, our Gemara told us earlier that the whole Mishnah didn't bring up any machloket. Then it showed us that it does. So what's going on here, right? Umay kimedumeh ani she'en lo moach bekad kato. And what did we mean then when Rebbe's comment was that the guy didn't have a brain in his head? All right. The ka'amarle, because he said as follows to him, hachi ka'amarle. This is what he means to be telling us. Ma'itama lo diyak matnitin. What was the reason that he didn't explicitly define and explain our Mishnah? De matnitin Rabbi Yehudahi. That our Mishnah must be according to the view of Rabbi Yehuda. The asar ba'anusat aviv, who forbid a situation where the father performed rape. Okay. Now we know that generally d'oraita, that's forbidden. It is listed. Okay. So how could it be in this case? The Katani, as he teaches, sheish arayot chamurot me'elu. There are 6 other more stringent examples of erva that our Mishnah, we said, didn't touch on, didn't deal with.
This is in the next.
Right. Okay. Me'elu mipnei shehein nisuot la'acherim, because when they're married to others, serotehen mutarot, their co-wives, okay, are permitted. Namely, imo, his mother, ve'eshet aviv, the wife of his father. Now, you're going to ask me and say, what? Isn't imo eshet aviv? Gemara is going to come up with that question in a few minutes. Okay? But remember, it could be that the eshet aviv could be a second wife. Right? So if we keep that in mind, the potential yabam could be the son of the first wife. Right? Okay. Let's go on. Va'achot aviv, the sister of his father. So the Gemara asks, my imo, what do you mean his mother? Ilema nisuet aviv. If you're saying she's married to his father, hainu eshet aviv. This is precisely the wife of the father. Elalav, rather, must it not be anusat aviv, okay, that he was the progeny of a rape or a non-wedded relationship, okay? And then the father married somebody else, okay? And then what? Father died. Uktani. And we learn as follows. Mipnei shehein nisuot la'acherim, because they're married to others, la'acherim, for the others, and yes, in other words, they could do yibum, la'achim, lo, but to the brothers, no. So if that woman who had, let's call it the non-wedded relationship with Yaakov, I'll use the same guy again, right? Now what happened? She produced an heir, a son to Yaakov, okay? But she went ahead and married somebody else, okay? Yaakov, in the meantime, okay, has another wife, okay, aside from the mistress or the girlfriend or whatever term we want to use, okay? Yaakov now dies. Who does that progeny of the rape perform the yibum with? Okay? That's the question. Apparently, he's not considered, right? Okay? So what happens? All right? Ein la'achim lo. Man shemat le de'it le hai svara. Who is it that we heard or learned who has this opinion? Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda. Da'asar ba'anusat aviv, who forbade in a situation of non-wedded act by the father. Mishum hachi lo tanela. Because of that reason, they didn't teach it in our Mishnah. Amar le Ravina le Rav Ashi. And so Ravina now says to Rav Ashi, okay, who remember we just saw above, claimed that Rebbe, what? Did have, right? Those laws. So what did he tell him? The Rebbe Yehuda, Nami Mishkachavla. For Rebbe Yehuda, we also have this example. The Avar v'nasim, I'm sorry, that if he transgressed and married her, the Ilo Katani, were it not taught, okay, Amarle Rav Ashi, the Rav Kahana. So what did he say now? Rav Ashi to Rav Kahana, below the okay, without the what if. In other words, what if we hadn't taught it? Nami mishkachadla. It's possible here too to say we can find an example of that. All right, and here is our example. I'm going to read the English note I wrote, and then we'll do the Gemara. Yaakov's son, who is the husband of a raped daughter-in-law in this case, and dies, okay, the wives of the deceased, including the rape victim, falls to the son of the rape victim and Yaakov for Yibum. That's what we're going to see. All right? So what does it tell us? Let's go into the Gemara now as we break that down. We're back to our Yaakov guy. What did he do? Anas kalato. He raped or had a non-wedded relationship with his daughter-in-law. He's an active guy, Yaakov. What happens? V'holid mimena ben. And he gave birth to a son. Okay? So this is the son, okay, of the rape. Right? Umate Ruvain. Okay? And somebody else, all right, Ruvain, could be a brother of Yaakov, right? Dies without children. Okay? So who does what happens? V'nafla la kame bra. And she falls before her son. Okay? So in others, right, the wives of the deceased, okay, fall before the son of which she is the mother. So it's the mother who falls before her own son for Yibum or Chalitza. Okay? So the Gemara then continues, Umigu de ihi asira, and since she is forbidden, right? Sarata nami asira. Her co-wife is also forbidden. Okay? Armarle, so he responds to him, Ba'achvata dahatera kamaire. No, he says, we're talking about a situation, he says, where it's permitted. That's where what we're presenting. Ba'achota de isura lo kamaire. Okay, with a sister, okay, that's forbidden, that's not what we're presenting. That's not what we're talking about. Va'afal pichein, and nevertheless, Badka Levi b'matnitin. Levi went, however, and he studied, reviewed, examined the Mishnah.
Levi was the one who Rebbe told him you have no brain.
Right, right, right. So what happens?
Child of a man who rapes his daughter is a mouse.
What?
The offspring of a man who rapes his daughter-in-law is a mouse.
Yeah. Okay, that comes back to what we talked about yesterday, our definition of what a mamzer might be. Okay? All right, so the question is, why does that make him a mamzer? Right?
You can't marry her.
Well, the son certainly can.
He's a mamzer from birth because father Yaakov who married his daughter-in-law.
Okay, in other words,
The marriage is illegal.
the marriage is in Tofsin. Right, the marriage is in Tofsin. That's number one, right?
That's it. That's my mom.
Okay. All right, so what happens? All right, so Bad Kalam Levi Matnitin, the Tani Levi, as Levi taught, Imo, his mother, Pa'amim Poteret Sarata, sometimes the mother, if she's the one who falls to Yibum, can exempt her co-wife, Upa'amim Eina Poteret Sarata. And there are other times where she doesn't exempt her co-wife. Ketzad, how is that possible? So Gemara is going to give us another example, which we should have another theoretically diagram. Okay? What happens? Haita imo nisuat avi. A situation was where the mother, his mother, was married to his father.
Was a nuisance, was a rape.
No, I have Haita imo nisuat avi. That's what my text has. Right? V'nis'et la'achiv me'aviv umeit. Okay, so what happens? And then she married his brother from the father. In other words, she married his uncle, and mate, and he died. Okay, so on the one hand, let's say Levi married Chana. Okay, and then what happens? Maybe Levi died. Okay, Chana then went and married, Ruvain, who was Levi's brother, right? And he died. Zohi imo, then this is a case where the son from Levi and Chana, right, would be the Yabam, right? Zohi imo she'ein poteret sarata. So here is a case where it's his mother, okay, who's forbidden to him since he can't do yibum with her, and his co-wives are also not covered, right? On the other hand, says our Gemara, on Amud Beis, right? Haita imo anusat avi. If the situation was that he was the progeny of a illegitimate, a rape or a non-wedded liaison, right? Okay, and what happened? V'niseit la'achiv me'aviv, and then she married the brother of the man who raped her. Okay, what happens? Umeit, and dies. Okay, so that man dies, right? Zohi imo shopoteret sarata. This would be a case, okay, where the mother could exempt the co-wife. Va'af al pi sheshanu chachamim b'mishnatenu chamesh esrei. And then, even though the sages in our Mishnah taught that there were only 15 in number, that's how it started, remember? Yesh lanu lahosif sheish esrei. We should add a 16th example. Kagon zo, like this one. Amar le Reish Lakish le Rabbi Yochanan. So now we're going to get to a whole brand new machloket on what Levi was saying. So Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan. Reish Lakish says, the Levi, Da'amar, and according to Levi, who says, Da'i, what if, Nam, right? Nami Katani. That also should be taught. Litne. So let's teach it. Okay? Namely, another example, Hacholetz liyavam to, v'chazar v'kidsha umet, one who performed chalitza to his yibama, right, to the widow. After he did the chalitza, v'chazar v'kidsha umet, he then went back and he actually married her, but then he died. Okay? Below banim, without any children. Demigo de ihi asura, that since this situation is such that she is forbidden, saratan nami asira, her co-wife, any co-wife is also going to be forbidden. Okay? So that was Reish Lakish's view according to Levi in that situation. Right? Okay.
Can you remarry? Are you allowed to remarry a?
The woman you did chalitza to? No. Okay. Amarle. So Rabbi Yochanan now responds. Excuse me. Lafi she'ena, right? B'tzarat tzara. Okay. No, the reason we don't include that in our list of 15 is because our Mishnah talked about not just co-wives, but co-wives of co-wives. And here, that's not a case here. That's not, this example doesn't fall into that category of co-wives of co-wives. It's only a case of a co-wife. Okay? So what happens? Velema, lay. So let us say to him, Chai ve'lavinhi, that's, I don't want to say simply, but that's particularly a case of a general love. That's your answer, Bob, right? That he's forbidden to do that. V'chai ve'lavin b'nei chalitza v'yibum ninhu, asks the Gemara, reading the question, just as you asked. Can we say that included among the general prohibitions is a situation where there's a case of chalitza or yibum? Is that, and then remarried by the same person who did it?
This was a violation. You couldn't do it.
Right, right. Lidvarav ka'amarle. According to his words, in other words, Rabbi Yochanan is answering according to the view of Reish Lakish that he's trying to explain. Lididi, according to me, chayeve lavinhem. These are this is included in multiple examples of general prohibitions, right? V'chave lavin b'nei chalitza v'yibum ninhu. And included among these general prohibitions is those aspects of chalitza and yibum are included. Ela l'didach, according to you, Reish Lakish, chai ve'kritut ninhu. This would therefore, if you want to include them in that list, you're going to argue then that in this situation, it's a unique lav of punishable with koret, like those others. Okay? Lafi she'enan b'tzarat tzara. Okay? Despite the fact that it's not included as a co-wife of a co-wife. Now, the Gemara picks up on this. Itmar, it was said about this as follows. Hacholetz liyavam to, v'chazar v'kidsha. Okay? So now we have a braita, right, Bob? That tells us the following. one who performs chalitza to his yibama, okay, and then goes back and marries her, right? Amar Reish Lakish says, who ein chayav al hachalutza karei. He, this one, is not fall under the transgression, okay, of committing an act of chalitza punishable by karei. V'ha'achim, but the brothers I'm choosing, chayavin al hachalutza karei. But any brother who would attempt to do yibum, okay, would be punishable by karei. Al hatzara, beinhu uvein ha'achim, chayavin al hatzara karei. Okay, but on a co-wife, whether it's him or the brothers, they would be fall under the obligation transgression, okay, of karei with a co-wife. Rabbi Yochanan Amar. So Rabbi Yochanan responds to this braita of what Reish Lakish was saying. Beinhu uvein ha'achim, whether it's him, according to Rabbi Yochanan's view, or the brothers, einan chayavim, they are not obligated, they are not falling under a transgression. Lo al hachalutza karet, neither on a punishment of karet in this situation of chalitza, velo al hatzara karet, nor on a co-wife, a situation in this way. Mai tama de Reish Lakish. So the Gemara asks then, what was the reasoning of Reish Lakish? His answer is Amar Kra. I'll cite a pasuk. Asher lo yivneh. That when we talks about the whole concept in the Torah of Yibum, what's the purpose? To build up or rebuild or renew the household, the family of the deceased man who died without producing progeny, right? Asher lo yivneh. Kevan shelo bana, since he didn't do that, in other words, he chose chalitza instead of yibum. Okay, right? Shuv lo yivneh.
Now we can't get married.
Right? He cannot. Furthermore, he can't go on. He can't marry. Okay. Ihu hu dekai below yivneh. He himself, I'm saying, is not able to fulfill right? Is under that status of not being able to build. In other words, to be able to marry that particular woman. Aval achav, his brothers, kidekaime kaime. They are the way they are. In other words, they theoretically could. Va'ala dida, okay, hu dekai, below yivneh. On her, okay, according to her, that's where we say below yivneh. Okay, that's where we apply regarding her, that it can't be built by that particular fellow who did the chalitza for her earlier. Okay, tzara, tzara, but with regards to a co-wife, kidekaime kaime, we can say there what is. Okay, in other words, her status is available, so to speak. Okay, by the brothers. Okay, number one, because chalitza was done, or by anybody else, right? The Rabbi Yochanan. But what about Rabbi Yochanan's view? Mi'ika mide, the mi'ikara. Do we have a situation where from initially, ibai hai chalitz, if it's necessary for this one to do chalitza, v'ibai hai chalitz, or if it's necessary to do this one chalitza, v'ibai lahai chalitz, or if he chooses for this woman to do chalitza, V'ibai lahai chalitza. Or it's necessary for that woman to do chalitza. V'hashta kai Allah b'karei. And here we're going to say that whichever one it is, okay, there's going to be a punishment of karei. Ela ihu shlichuta da'achim ka'avin. But rather he acts as the representative of the brothers, okay, when he does the chalitza. Ihi shlichuta d'tzara ka'avda. And she acts as the representative of the co-wives, okay, when she becomes Yevama, right? Tivei. So now Rabbi Yochanan challenges again Reish Lakish with the following. Hacholeitz liyavam to v'chazar v'kidsha. Here's back our situation. One who performs chalitza to the widow as Yibama, v'chazar v'kidsha, and goes ahead then and marries her. Umeit, and he dies. Tzricha chalitza min ha'achim. Then she again needs a second chalitza from one of the other brothers. Right? Bishlema ledidi da'amina chayve lavin minhu. That is acceptable, says Rabbi Yochanan, according to my view, because I'm saying that in that situation, it's a regular lav, okay? And since I'm saying it's a regular lav, hainu detzricha chalitza min ha'achim. Therefore, she needs this second chalitza, so to speak, from one of the other brothers. Ela l'didach. But according to your view, Reish Lakish, amai tzricha chalitza. Why then would she need this, what I'm calling the second chalitza, right? Ulata'amech. And according to your reasoning, ema seifa. I would say, look at the end of our Mishnah. Amad echad min ha'achim v'kidsha. It says one of the brothers got up and married her. Ein la alav klum. In that case, it's nothing. It's like nothing happened. V'ichai ve'lavin minhu. And if they are part of a regular lav, in other words, he's not koreh, but he would get malchus for doing it. Okay? Amai ein la alav klum. Why then did it say in our Mishnah that it's as if there's no marriage? It is a marriage. It's just a forbidden marriage. And because he did it, he was getting malchus, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Okay? Amar Rav Sheshet, says Rav Sheshet, given that Rabbi Yochanan cited the end of our Mishnah, Seifa et ta'en le Rabbi Akiva. The end of our Mishnah, I would say, was what was taught in the perspective of Rabbi Akiva. The Amar ein kiddushin tofsin b'chayvei lavi. That the marriages are not legal, let's use that word for the moment, okay, in a situation where it is a normal or an ordinary lav v'litne. So let the Mishnah then teach it, l'divrei Rabbi Akiva en, that this is the view of Rabbi Akiva. Why didn't it say so? Right? En lo alav klum. That Rabbi Akiva would say he does not have, there is no marriage there. And we'll stop right there and we'll pick up tomorrow on the top of Yud Aleph, right? With Kasha, that it's still a problem, right? Okay, everybody have a Chag Purim Sameach. And